We got ourselves a Viserys over for the team 1, and is that a Death Knight? Rep Flex over on the team. That's Flex and a DK. Gonna be Rasta and Gasakon gonna be first up versus Viserys. Hit it with a sleep for just a moment. I was about to say Succubus CC because of the way it functions. It's going to be a big breath on Rasta with a deep breath. He does go for a mad heal. Going to be a trinket for Rastakan as they're trying to stay on Viserys the best they can. Big shatter, massive disintegrates, lots of damage. Rastakan could be in big trouble. Does pop a wall. That's going to be massive output for Viserys. Could still be in trouble. Rastakan is able to recover, but that was the only thing that saved him. Viserys had a lot of good damage output. Massive, great beams, but it's going to be Rastakan using that Zendalari racial to go for a bit of a regenerating while behind the pillar. Big burst available for Viserys. That's where Rastakan is in trouble. Better have a Barskin ready. Big disintegrate. Does he survive it? Could be dead right here. Barskin does get used. Got himself a slider shield ever. Viserys needs mobility in order to catch up with the Feral Druid if they can at all. Do they have hover? Trying to go for big fire breath. Doesn't quite clip him. Rastakan actually feeling confident, wants to open up, get the bleeds, even though he said no help whatsoever. And Viserys could potentially remove all those bleeds with a cauterize. Does cauterize the wound entirely. Sleep onto Rasta. Does have a trigger for it. Does have enough damage here. Does have some disintegrate. Maybe the second one to follow. Rasta had no help whatsoever. Maim onto Viserys. Does get interrupted. And that's going to be a big turn to start taking him out. Man, the back and forth between the Feral and the Evoker, man. Not much you can really do in that situation. You're either going to be able to use mobility to lock him down fast enough, or as a Feral Druid, you have to keep the bleeds rolling, you have to keep the pressure rolling, but Viserys does get himself good defenses, can immune CC, and even remove your bleeds entirely. Big deep breath out of Wild Dim, does go for a trick and immediately try to see if he can get some damage on Viserys. Big axe to follow, does walk out of the bonds of Fell, but that's the entire army of demons spinning. Does get rooted onto both of the demons as they're Fell storming. So at least you are reducing a lot of the damage they could do to you. Because that Fellstorm ability does a lot of damage whenever you get your pet, like the commanding talent. Because it does 400% more damage, is a lot. Big Disintegrates is able to burn through the shield of Wild Dim very rapidly. Axe toss on Viserys doesn't put him out in the open. Wild Dim going in maybe for a turn, trying to see if he can reposition. Puts a curse on Viserys. Viserys, if he has himself the cauterize, could remove the curse as well. I'm sure that the curse is maybe for like slow, curse of maybe curse of tongues. I'm not even sure. Gonna be a crystal. He brought down a Bonzafel, but I guess it just doesn't tether to Viserys. Wild Dim just needs himself a couple more globals, just a couple of more demons summon, and he could potentially have Viserys over the edge here. Is gonna have the axe toss with the demon doggers with a full hand of gold dance falling in back to back, the skyrocketing from above. Gonna be big mastery burns for Viserys, but does get taken down by a Demonology Warlock. Zealotry gonna be up next in stealth, trying to see if he can find himself a better angle versus Wild Impy. Do they get a proper go? Sap into the main pet. Wild Imp has himself an entire pet army. I don't know if he could go for a proper turn. Potentially could. Dark back to follow. Has himself a lot of these imps out here. Maybe could go for a big go versus Zealotry. It doesn't look like Wild Imp is playing into that nether portal build at the moment. So maybe just a proper pet empowerment build or pet summoner build. Mortal into Zealotry. Massive explosion. Trying to follow. The man is just dead. Oh, and the Demon Dog is just charged out with full ferocity. That was a lot of damage output very quickly. The Rogue didn't really have much time to react there. Chicago gonna be next, trying to go for a bit of an honor duel with Wild Impy. It looks like Wild Imp is gonna go for a nice little honorable bow, and so is Chicago. As the two know each other in the dueling arena, want to be able to respect one another. Chicago, I do wonder what kind of build you got going on. Are you an Ascendance build? You are a random Deep Tremor Ascendance build. This is going to go for Trick really early on. Wild Impy with a port. Try to go with a Bonzo fellow around the corner. It doesn't quite tag towards Chicago. Didn't really push in quickly enough. But that's going to be secondary pet join in. The Obelisk is up. The pets are going to do a lot of damage. It's going to be Fear onto one of the elemental wolves. I think it still generate Maelstrom for Chicago, even if they don't get to attack Wild Imp at all. But Chicago's under a ton of pressure. Demons surrounding him. Counter-Strike Totem. So he actually maybe could zap the pets back as they attack Chicago. But Wild Imp is going to be able to get away entirely. Demon Dog is charging in towards Chicago. And right now it's going to be down. Who got the better, the beefier doggos, the more ravenous dogs? Is it going to be the Ellie Wolves, the Raptors, the Spirits? Or is it going to be the Demon Doggos, the Dreadhounds from the Twisting? Again, I feel like that's another one of those bonds I felt that just doesn't tether towards Chicago. That are exploded a lot earlier than I expected. It is interesting the Wild Imp is running that ability because it does seem to do a lot of damage. Gonna be the Obelisk down. Chicago does have himself. Maybe a defensive wall is available, but Wild Imp got himself the Dark Bag. That shield I think is a little stronger than a wall at this point. At least where he's at in duel. 32% dampener. Chicago needs a lot of Maelstrom in order to catch up in healing. That is an entire army of demons. Does end up brocking the Bonzafell. So maybe Chicago just brocking Bonzafell like a last second. Oh, and Wild Imp does end up capitalizing with all the damage. That is a lot of output by Demonology Warlock, man. How do you fight that? This is why they're getting nerfed, by the way. I don't know, like, actually, the nerfs to what? The Fellstorm maybe will make Wild Imp less bursty. Demon Doggo change is definitely going to tone down his damage a little. But his Tyrant is going to be so much more scarier. Now you're just going to have to put people out in the open. Tyrant, though, can get interrupted. He can get bugged out pretty easily, though, so... yeah, I feel like the nerfs coming to Demonology Warlocks are probably going to be enough to really make an impact. Big explosive onto Lithenius is surrounded by demons, so then I have to go for a reset. Oh my god, there was so much damage. All it took is Demon Doggos, one spinny Beyblade boy, and a quick crystal that explodes when you walk away from it. That's all it took, and you did a lot of pressure to that guy. Getting shot by the rogue, separating the Warlock away from the demons. Besides for like 1 or 2 imps. As the axe toss comes out from the second pet, trick out all Lithenia with the human ratio. Maybe could go for a second stun. The Wild Imp maybe has a mortal call for this one. This is going to go for a port. Trying to utilize the Warlock mobility in order to stay afloat. Lithenia with an evasion. Trying to see if you can find the demons. I don't know if you want to do that. Bonzafell, in case you walk into it. Wild Imp, mortal call around the corner until Lithenia. Trying to see maybe you can get some Demon Doggos in. Get a shot onto the Warlock. Maybe can make a play. Wall as Wild Imp is not feeling super confident right now. Feeling the pressure is going to be a big blast. Oh, Lithenia does go down. There's a reason why they're nerfing this class. Vindy, though, is another class getting nerfed. The only man that can stop a Demonology Warlock is literally a Demon Hunter. One summons demons, the other eats them for breakfast. As Wild Imp trying to get himself a much better angle, walking away from Vindy knows that's going to be a lot of pressure from the Demon Hunter. Needs to make sure there's quite a bit of distance away from him. There's going to be a big fell eruption onto Wild Imp. Does get himself demons, but Vindy got demons of his own. Eating the demonic soul. Got himself 20% more damage. Could potentially be big for Wild Imp as the Imprison comes out with a Fear Sigil onto all the pets. Does end up walking out of it late. That's going to be mortal call on Hunt. He does use a cooldown of the Hunt, but he doesn't connect with Wild Imp. Doesn't do damage. Gonna be Tyrant joining in. Kind of out in the open. Able to slap out Vindy quite a bit. Gonna be eventual treat. Does give himself a little bit of defense. Wild Imp get interrupted, I think, on the Demon Bolt, which is our Demon Fire cast, or Demon, or maybe, I'm not even sure. Because if it's time to go down, you're like completely locked out. If it's Shadow Bolts, you can still cast certain demonic abilities. But hand to go down is like Shadow Flame damage. That's what I think it was. Because I've said Demon Bolt damage, Demon Fire damage, Shadow Flame damage. Vindy walking up, flying up into the air, up in the sky, but Wild Imp down below, lower the ground, trying to see if you can avoid him. Got himself a portal, or got himself a portal with some hellstones. Big port. Vindy out in the open. Darkness, the only thing he's really got going on right now. Shadow Melt, I think his man maybe just down for the count. Into an axe toss that I think Wild Imp has him. My god, the ultimate dominance. And he kept him more like protected the entire time. Look, not even a scratch on that guy. My goodness, Wild Imp is an insane Warlock. My god, there it goes. The 1v5 and 2.3 million healing. Not only did it top off damage, not only did he face 5 competitors in a row, not only did he get some of the wackiest bursts out there, they just kind of comes out of nowhere, it feels like. But also this man is just...